My name is Pain, and here's my jive. I've been around since man's been alive. Gnawing, burning, shooting, stabbing, twisting, throbbing, stinging, grabbing is how I make a scene. You say I'm mean, but my job is meant for your protection. A stim. To trigger some inspection, some detection that something is wrong. I can distract you. I can attack you. I can make you humble. I can make you crumble. I can make a grown man cry. Curse me, nurse me, try to disperse me. You can't deplete me, you can't defeat me. Why do you even try?
Decades ago, pain was expected in disease and accepted. Patients screaming, writhing, crying on their journey while they're dying. So few ways to end their torment, so few drugs to make pain dormant.
But there was morphine.
Morphine, named for the Greek god of dreams, ironical product of nature's schemes. A simple plant, the poppy flower, unleashing a dynamic power. Opium developed with good intentions, one of mankind's toxic inventions. So deceiving, so conflicting, so relieving, so addicting. So, morphine doses were denied, while cancer patients languished and cried. Fear of addiction drove the restriction of an adequate analgesic prescription. Nurses watched the fear and dread, helpless hands beside the bed. Patients would be better dead than suffering the torture of pain.
Suffering is the way to being, the path to knowing, feeling what it means to be human. To end pain is man's greatest aim. From birth to death he plays the game. 'Tis Buddhism's first noble truth. But end of pain is just an illusion. When will mankind accept the conclusion that I always triumph in the end?
Then, mid-20th century, enlightenment to end misery. Finally, the hospice philosophy made its way across the pond. Dying patients now respected, no longer ignored or rejected, medicated to achieve the comfort a terminal patient deserves. At last, a nurse had at her disposal the means to realize the proposal that suffering needn't be expected while the patient was being protected from becoming addicted to drugs. Symptom relief was the ultimate objective. Symptom complaints were entirely subjective. Sympathy and empathy, the rhapsody weaving a revised treatment tapestry to preserve a patient's dignity through mercy, comfort, and peace. Soon, compassion came into fashion for anyone feeling pain, leading a nearsighted nurse to proclaim, "Pain is what the patient says it is." A noble quote, then a sacred anthem. Innocent thought, then a deadly phantom. Pain relief for all, the new memorandum for healthcare institutions around the world.
An opportunity to fill a need, take the lead, assuage our greed. The poppy plant was our inspiration to concoct a man-made creation. Synthetic opiates were the answer to all human pain, not only cancer. Such a service we could provide, such a profit on the side. And then, through a fortuitous media spin, we were absolved of committing sin when a foolish medical editor removed the thought of pharma as predator by proclaiming our products non-addicting.
What could they possibly be thinking?
Of course the feds had to get involved. The challenge of chronic pain was solved. No longer was the risk of abuse for physicians a reasonable excuse to deny narcotics to their patients. The CDC set forth to create a bureaucratic federal mandate that all physicians must participate and make a priority to eradicate all humans suffering from pain. Then, the American Pain Society, within its esteemed propriety, not expecting unwanted notoriety, broadcast the philosophical proclamation that went viral across the nation that pain was the fifth vital sign.
A vital sign whose name is pain? How absurd. How inane. Unlike temperature, pulse, blood pressure, and respiration, which can provide a reasonable determination for an individual's clinical situation. I am unique to each human being. From 1 to 10 or in between, I can't be measured, weighed, or seen. An ache, which may be for one a bother, is incapacitating for another.
So the perfect storm began to form. Opiate prescriptions became the norm. Doctors and nurses asked to perform whatever was required to extinguish pain. Narcotics sweet and so appealing, we knew they never would be healing. Mercy was the platitude, problem-solving attitude, patience full of gratitude, hurtling towards a life of hell. Who could tell? Not the feds and not Big Pharma. Such a sad and tragic karma.
Big Pharma followed with expensive promotions to promulgate the use of its narcotic potions, and government agencies blessed ridiculous notions that drug abuse would not be an issue. And all the while, waiting in the wing, pushers and dealers ready to spring heroin, simple, cheap to produce, easily smuggled for a street dealer's use from foreign countries exporting this poison. The great opiate crisis was now on the horizon.
Young and old, rich and poor could not resist the subtle lure of legal drugs, so safe and pure, the means to end what they've had to endure. Their ravaging, punishing pain. Of course, not all hurt was the physical kind. Some stemmed from the heart, some dwelt in the mind.
I come in many varieties.
But narcotic drugs so versatile could relieve all suffering with style, until their potency begins to wane, leading to the return of pain, though this could be solved with more of the same, or opiates by some other name.
And so, an addict is born.
Hey, you there. You looking at me? What do you see standing before you, so pristine, so serene? No, raving and craving and feeling like shit. Pain is legit. Body is aching. Both hands are shaking. Inside, I'm breaking. Just need a chemical to make me right, just to get me through the night. Just an hour of release, just a little bit of peace. Feeling normal is the goal, not a renewal of my soul. Not a high and not a trip. Agony has me in its grip. Not my fault and not my penance. Not deserving of this menace. Fate has handed me this scourge. Not for lack of strength or courage do I grovel and I plead. Some relief is all I need.
Now at last, the truth be told, dark and cold, mothers crying, thousands dying, was in fact Big Pharma lying. Pain relief was our mandate. Never thought that would create addiction, destruction. Providing comfort was our function. And the drugs were safe and good, and we said prescribe them as you should. And if you heard it's not enough, don't attempt to call a bluff. Raise the dose, write the script, you will reap reward from it. We never thought, we never knew what a crisis we would brew. Lortab, Norco, Vicodin, using them is not a sin. And then came Oxycontin, not to mention fentanyl. Insurance companies paid the bill, never thought these drugs would kill.
But did they ever? And you thought you were so clever.
We laughed on our way to the bank. Blessed by the feds, doctors in our tank. Oops, some patients did get dependent. Was not our fault, was not what we intended. We just supplied what the Fed said was needed. By all accounts, we definitely succeeded.
Pain clinics, pill mills sprung up everywhere, from Main Street to State Street, disguised as healthcare. A 5-minute visit without a physical exam yielded a prescription for an opiate in great demand. Baby boomers, teenagers, the frail elderly consumed, shared, or sold what they'd obtained legally. And if they needed more than just one pill, or if denied a prescription to fill, they switched to street heroin laced with fentanyl.
How could this have happened? How did this come to be? We followed all the guidelines from the trusted CDC. Patient care was the name of our game. Now you say we are to blame? Now we are left with grief and shame, nothing to relieve their pain. Narcotic scripts are now forbidden.
You must be kidding.
I told you I'm invincible.
What's this? I see an opportunity to peddle my stuff with impunity. Here's a victim running out of hope. Can no longer cope. Will she turn to dope? I have the goods and the timing is right. Just sit tight. Track her plight. Wait for the night. Then strike while the iron is hot.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control now sees how narcotics have taken their toll. Even the American Pain Society admits to the folly of its hegemony, that pain should be relieved at all costs. How did the Food and Drug Administration, charged with the safety of this nation, allow Big Pharma to push its opioid concoctions as non-addicting analgesic options? What's that you say? The DEA? The source of opiate law and order? Can't stop the flow of drugs from across the border. Therefore, we suggest Other strategies must prevent this new wave of tragedies. Tylenol, Advil, and Aleve are what we perceive to be the safest.
Over the counter without restriction? For a headache without prescription? My pain cuts me like a knife, gives me strife. Suffering is my way of life. I need something that is stronger. I need something that lasts longer. Promise I won't get addicted. Promise you won't be convicted for doing what a doctor is supposed to do.
Narcotics are now deemed to be wretched excess for a malady that in all reality is deserving of a much gentler approach. Physical therapy may be of use, no risk there of abuse. Psychoanalyst is a thought, or perhaps you ought to find out where yoga is taught. Yet another non-drug tactic we suggest is chiropractic. Have you considered acupuncture?
Tried all those, got some relief, but it was brief. Now my doctor turns me away, leaves me to pray, thinks it's okay to abandon a patient.
I feel that I must comment on Natalie's unusual phenomenon. Reflex sympathetic dystrophy, somewhat a medical mystery, destined for pain unto infinity. Sad case, I must say.
Spare me the details. Though not deserving cruel retribution, opiates are not the solution. Hot and cold packs must first be tried, can be effective when applied. Supplements, aromas, herbs, oils, and such, Reiki, massage, and the healing touch. Perhaps a ritual of mindfulness meditation instead of a dose of toxic medication may break the cycle of pain.
Your words are harsh, your thoughts are cruel. Do you take me for a fool? Torment is my way of being. You're not hearing, you're not seeing. Do you really expect me to feel this way? Night after night? Day after day? No one to turn to, no one to call. I think I may be ready to end it all.
May I be of some assistance? Hear me out, forgo resistance. I think I know your pain. Suffering doesn't have to be your unquestioned destiny. There are means to find relief. All it takes is some belief in what I have to offer.
I don't think...
Aren't you deserving of some measure of contentment? Some pleasure free from the curse of pain? I have something that can help you. I'm the one you can turn to when others let you down. See this powder? It is magic, pure as the driven snow. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and try it. You don't even have to buy it. It is my gift to you.
Well, maybe. Just this once.
So street dealers stepped right up to recruit abandoned patients who were destitute, offering heroin, a deadly substitute for legally prescribed drugs.
And one pain led to another.
Many others.
Cha-ching. Give me your tired, your poor, huddled masses yearning to be pain-free. Hey, Big Daddy, how easy can this be?
The opiate epidemic now a national catastrophe, touching all ages, races, and rungs of society. In the Fed's efforts to right a wrong they had a role in all along, pleaded with doctors to stop prescribing opiates like candy. So inviting. Big Pharma's aim now deemed deleterious, greedy, dishonest, and nefarious. Promotion of their products used so precarious, setting patients up to be junkies.
Oh, please. Didn't we already mention an opioid epidemic was never our intention?
So the pendulum swung back many years. Addiction paranoia fueling the fears. Good intentions, once more it appears, leave suffering patients in pain and in tears.
Haven't I said this again and again? I always triumph in the end.
Now heartbroken families in shock and grief experience a pain without hope of relief, attending funerals while in disbelief, lives whose years were much too brief. From coast to coast, the solemn bell tolls for scores of innocent but doomed souls, victims of lofty but admirable goals, caught in a crossfire between good and evil.
Now see the tangled web that was spun, and see the victims whose lives came undone. Patients, families, doctors, nurses, behold the agony, hear the curses. What a tragedy that was created never could have been anticipated. How can the errors be amended? How can this nation's pain be ended?
As we close the curtain on this sad rendition, I offer one final admonition. I have always been a part of the human condition. I make no excuses or contritions. And though it appears that misery is your final position, learning to live with me must be your mission. You will never completely set me free, and so I invite you to gently walk with me.